Good morning. Happy Friday to you. It is June 6th. We are already into the first week of June. What's your plans for the summer? What do you have going on? Are you altering anything that you typically do to make your life be better, to be happier, to be healthier? I'm Kitryn Marie. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach, teach a variety of art classes. Trying to gear back up to promote to teach some of my classes. I teach group painting classes, acrylic painting, and I teach how to put a vision board together. Based in life coaching and a lot of psychology, where you've been, where you want to go, how you want to fulfill your life in order to be happy, healthy, soul, purposely fulfilled. Those are classes that I teach. I also business coach for creative-minded women who want to start side hustles, who want to lean out of that corporate world and do something that's more fulfilling to who they are and how authentic they are to their own self and their talent. This Sunday I have a photo shoot I'm doing for a gal who reached out to me. It's been a while since I have done any photography, and I was more than glad to get my camera charged and get all my gear together. So I'm looking forward to that. That is this Sunday, if it doesn't rain, because it is raining here in St. Louis, Missouri again. I was listening to somebody last night on the TikTok that had said they felt like the seasons were all pushing. I've been saying that for years. You know, the earth is rotated on its axis. We now get seasons months later. And here we are, June, and it is the coolest June that I think St. Louis has seen in a while. Does not help all the rain, and yesterday the humidity was god-awful. But anybody who's ever been to New Orleans, St. Louis's humidity is nothing like New Orleans. And years back when I was there, I said I would never complain about St. Louis's humidity, considering I felt like I was sick the whole time I was there. Loved the trip, want to get back there, but the humidity yesterday was absolutely miserable, and it very much affects your personality, your attitude, your muscles, and your bones. Was behind the bar yesterday. Today I'm off. I go into the gig tonight to work a private banquet, so I just thought I would pop on. Like I said, I'm trying to come back on, have some new content, talk about some new things, because if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't let people know who you are or what you do, no one will ever find you. And oftentimes people love to be critics. People love to get this fantasy in their head of somebody that they think they know, and it's based on an old life, and they have a hard time understanding who you are now and what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to do. And those people who have bad-mouthed you or have run this huge smear campaign on you, when they are still telling that old story, those people that are seeing something from another side, it doesn't make sense. And I'll tell you this, too many times, depending on who you are with and the situation that you are in, people will dumb down themselves to fit the person that they are with. Too many people don't understand their own potential, their own standard, their own purpose in life, and they play silly games. They don't tap into the intelligent person that they are supposed to be. And when somebody else then is showing another side of intelligence or training or the wherewithal of what they've learned, because society at whole has changed, they have a hard time understanding who you are, because that image that they believe you to be no longer exists. So therefore, those people that are putting you down, who are not understanding this bigger picture now or what you're trying to achieve, they feel they have the right to be superior because that life that they are living, they're expecting you to stay the same because they have stayed the same. And I believe in growing, I believe in evolving, I believe in progress. Let me grab my coffee here. But what are you prioritizing right now? Like I said, I'm kind of working on air conditioner, still dealing with some car issues. So I bought a Jeep. Nothing fancy. It's a 2016. It's got some higher miles, but nothing that is not doable for what I need in my life. Just need to be able to get back and forth to the gig, get back and forth to my horse, throw a bunch of stuff in the back part. It is a larger size Jeep. It is nothing fancy. It is nothing expensive, although I do believe I paid $2,000 more than what the vehicle was worth. But I felt like it was okay for me to let my salesperson make his commission. The problem is they probably never should have sold the Jeep because of the higher miles on it. It was never really maintained the way that it needed to be. So in the process of everything, and I always say, I am a girl. I should not know about car mechanics. There's a lot of things I should not know about, but being an independent, single woman mostly in life, you have to learn things. So the vehicle, when I first got it, they failed to look at the fact that the car was shaking. And I'm like, that's not right. You're not supposed to see the engine vibrate from the hood of the car. So I took it back in. They changed out one motor mount. Well, I came all unglued because from my other vehicle, if you change out one motor mount, you change them all out. So the next time I took the vehicle in, they changed out all the motor mounts, and they changed also out the transmission mounts. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's great. Did it fix the situation? No, it did not fix the situation. So I took it back for a third time. So they changed an axle. What else did they do? Something else. And the car did not vibrate. It did not shake, but it seems to be doing it again. And I refused to take it back to the dealership. The dealership shouldn't have even taken the Jeep in for a trade-in because it's a completely hybrid dealership. And the mechanic, although he might be really good at the hybrid and what cars they have, he has no business working on a Jeep. So now I'm trying to figure out where am I going with my vehicle. Although I have a mechanic, he is so backed up. And I do have 2 car warranties. And I'm just like, that was never really explained to me. So the whole experience and the transaction with getting this new vehicle has done nothing but cause havoc in my world. That is the second prioritizing that I am doing. Vehicle, the air conditioner, the vehicle, and then thirdly, which is very minute, I want new living room furniture. And I'm working on that. Paying down things. I'm working around the clock. I am working 6 shifts, which mostly I don't complain about. I like what I do. I love who I work with. But when does it become too much? When do you realize the situation that you are working in is no longer serving who you are? And because you are aging, are you still able to do the job? Random. Has nothing to do with it, but does have something to do with it. I met the new trainer at the horse ranch the other day. Lovely woman. Very, very attractive. She had shoulders and arms to kill for. Now, my oldest is a bodybuilder, personal trainer, so I'm very familiar with, like, muscles, physique, and when somebody is really toned. And trying not to stare as I'm having this wonderful conversation with her about the horse she's training and about, my old girl. And I'm like, my God, what is she doing to get her arms to look like that? Segue back to carrying a tray at almost 64 years old. laughing and joking, I always say to whomever is around me, I can only carry 3 things on this tray. And I'm not one of those where, I can do this. I have to like hold the tray with both hands because I have a bad shoulder. And I'm like, God almighty, I would love to have killer shoulders like that. I have this going on right now, which I never had. Normally my arms, though, they're nice and toned. I try to keep myself as felty as I possibly can, low weight, low size, to be more agile. I put probably anywhere from 11,000 to 16,000 steps on my Fitbit in a day. But when does it come to the point where you realize you can't do your job anymore? What do you fall back on? Where do you go? What do you know how to do within your own talent, within your own education, and with your training that you have been trained on, that you can leave your job and go do something else? What happens if you get hurt on the job? And I always, again, jokingly tell whomever at the restaurant I'm working, I break my hip, it's on your dime. It's on workman's comp. But does it have to get down to that before you decide that you can't do your job anymore? I've always been able to fall back on my art. Always. I have always been an artist. I have always been the type of woman who will create something and try to sell it. But because of the economy, I don't know where to go any longer with like doing vendor shows or art shows because people are all strapped for money. To take an enrichment class, you have to decide that there is something missing in your life, and you have to decide what it is that is going to hold your interest. Can you monetize your hobby? Can you take that craft that you have learned and can you turn around and turn it into a service? When I'm teaching my vision board class, it is a service. It is showing you where you have been, where you would like to go, allowing you to hold a mirror in front of your face so you can examine your own behavior and your own actions and how the trickle-down effect has affected somebody else. Have you dumbed down yourself in your job? Have you dumbed down yourself to be with your current whomever it is that you are? Have you figured out you can't be alone, so you will settle on what I like to call the pick and pull out of the junkyard? It was just easiest because you can't be alone. You didn't understand your own potential. You refused to raise your standard. You refused to match the newer person's energy. And you have gotten angry because she is expecting you now to raise the vibration to match and align. It's a whole dynamic. We talk about that in my vision board class. What is your potential? What are you aligning yourself with? And where is it you feel like you're abandoning your own self? And I'm going to try to recall a story that I heard yesterday because it made me think of all of these couples. When they're together for a long time. It's the back and forth. It's they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. Just usually it's a control. One person does not want to live the other person's life, and the other person does not, again, want to meet the standard, match the effort in making the relationship work. People stay in rigid patterns and habits. They come together when they shouldn't be together. People get together, they get married because they are impetuous and they're trying to prove a point. I'm going to prove to somebody else that I'm not the monster that somebody else has said me to be. I am going to show them I am worthy and somebody else wants me. But the story that I heard last night, somebody who's a very, very high earner, high influencer, written many, many books. And he had been working on this new book, and he was getting extremely frustrated with this new book. And I understand that because I just finished writing a book. It's in publishing format stages right now, waiting for a little bit of feedback, trying to figure out when it's going to be published. or what I will have to edit and change in order to make it fit into this format. Anyway, this gentleman, he's frustrated and he just wants to give up. He doesn't want to write this book. He's ready just to cast it aside, throw it aside, and go on to something else or not do anything at all because it has taken a toll on who he is. And he reaches out to one of his Air Force buddies, a career, long-term, I don't know what the terminology is, life career in the Air Force, and he's having this conversation with this gentleman about missions. And the guy is telling the military person, what do you do if you're given an assignment and you don't want to do it? He goes, what happens? What if it just takes everything out of you and you know you are not going to succeed at this mission? And the Air Force person turns around and says to, the guy, he says, we are trained to do this job, whether we like it or not. We are trained in hypothesis of it could go this way, it can go this way, it could go this way, it could belly up, it could bottom out, but you are trained to do this job, whether you like it, whether you want to do it, whether you don't want to do it, whether you know you are facing the fire once you get in it. He said were getting ready to be sent on a mission, and he had his, I don't think they're called a troop, a crew, his men. He was a higher up military person. Don't know what his rank was. But anyway, he's facilitating the operation. And he has been given orders, and as their leader, where he is showing them, he is telling them, this is the operation, these are the rules, this is how we're going to do this, this is the plan, but the odds are none of us are going to make it out. It's a do or die situation. One of his men, probably young, probably up and coming, not familiar with how the military really work, because I do believe that happens. You have ones that have been in, they know the routine, they're professionals at what they do, they know the risk. And you have the younger ones that are coming up and they don't know really what they have signed up for. So the Air Force higher up says to the person, hey, this is what we got to do. And the guy's like, I don't want to do this. This just doesn't seem right. Guy turned around and he looked at his man in front of him and said, this is what you signed up for. This is what you signed your name on the dotted line and gave that oath. You don't get to back off. You don't get to sabotage the rest of the men, the rest of the plan, because you feel you no longer can participate in something that you didn't know what the risk or the outcome was going to be to begin with. So the military man tells the influencer guy, he said, I read this book one time, and it was because of this one book that made me decide to look within to why I always have sabotaged everything that I've gotten involved with in my life. He said, and once I understood my why to the things that I was doing, why I was doing this, why I wanted to do it, why I wanted to be in this place, why I wanted to be surrounded with. He said, understanding my why made me to be a better human being. He said, and because of this book, it altered my whole life. Well, just so happened that book that the military person was reading was one of the books that the influencer had originally written. The influencer said, I don't think I need a sign anymore. He said, do or die, it's go time. And the gentleman went on to write his book, the next book, and became very, very successful. So let me ask you, as a life coach, whether you want to believe it or not, is it go time? Is it now or never? Do you understand that one move that you made or you're thinking about making may have sabotaged the whole operation? You were in it for life. You knew the plan. You knew what you signed up for. You also knew that there was a risk with that outcome. So, as you are in your job, whether it's making you sick, whether it is making you question why you need to be there, what is your why? What is your purpose? And are you transposing a situation that no longer serves you from something that happened 30 years ago, but because you're so rigid in mindset, you've got yourself stuck in something that has done nothing but to sabotage who you are and how you are, reflected very much and played a very big impact in the relationship that you were involved, and how your actions, because of the rigidity, because your behavior, because you couldn't finish the mission, you sabotaged it. And look at where you are now, and look at what you are having to face with, deal with on a daily basis, and what else can you do in your life at this time, because this is the mission. This is what you signed on for, and it's do or die. Look at your age. What else is left? What else is out there? What have you settled for because you have dumbed down yourself? And where do you want to see yourself go for the rest of your life? Where do you want to see yourself? What is your why? What is your reasoning into anything that you are doing now? Because there are so many other choices. There are so many other decisions that you can make with your life that you are not sabotaging yourself, your health, and your happiness. Those are a lot of things that I talk about in my vision board class. But I am Kitryn Marie. I am an artist, a writer, a speaker, a life and a business coach, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, trying to promote a whole bunch of art classes because I'm trying to lean out of the restaurant industry at this point in life. I know where I want to go. I see my whole life laid out in front of me. I know my potential, and I refuse to sabotage what I have worked really, really hard for. And if you cannot understand your own potential and what you're bringing to the table to serve self, you will never serve anybody else. And if you're not happy with yourself, nobody else will ever be happy with you either. So for today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Fate turns on a dime. You decide what side of that coin that you want to be on. If you're interested in learning more about me, feel free. You can Google my name, Kitryn Marie. I am all over the Google. I believe now I'm the first 5 pages. Reach out, Kitryn_Marie at yahoo.com if you are interested in taking a group painting class. Just $45 a person, minimum of 10 in the group. I provide all the materials. The vision board class is $65 a person. You provide the materials that you need. There is a list. I can do it private, or I really like to do it a group because it is an open discussion and we can all see who were the influences in your life. How are you a product of your environment? And who is it in your life that you always felt like you needed to prove yourself to somebody else to measure up to their standard? And don't pay attention too much to the naysayers that cannot understand that you have elevated your growth. It's no longer a game. This is your life. This is who you are. And it is not your responsibility for someone's smear campaign. So y'all take care. I hope to see you real soon. Bye.